here we go. Welcome back to the podcast studio at the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. Season 3. We are 3 episodes in to Season 3 of Where the Game Lives On. I am your host, Noah Tucker, joined by my partner in crime, actually my boss, CEO of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame,
Byron and
Noah. Crime boss. You are... You're rocking the Monster Energy again this morning. I've got the Body Armor Light, courtesy of Ozarks Coca-Cola. If you want that plug,
shout out to
if you want that
Ozarks
plug every
Coca-Cola,
week, just
Dr.
give us a
Pepper
holler.
Bottling Company.
How we been? We have a good weekend.
Yes, not overly eventful. Of course, got a little extra time at home on Monday with the big ice storm overnight. But
yeah, I hate we talked about that last episode. I hate the ice.
I got up on Monday morning. I was planning on coming to work, let my dog out, and she went sliding across the porch right into the rock wall.
Oh, my goodness. Did you see the...
It's like that's probably a good sign it's not going into work today. So.
It was up towards St. Louis or something. Did you see the video of the fire truck in the subdivision?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is Kenny Wallace is where I saw it because he posted it. It's in his hometown of Imperial.
That's right.
And he posted it on his Twitter. Of course, he's on Twitter 24/7, but he was like, this is my hometown, but I mean, and Tom Hart, the ESPN announcer, SEC Network, he's actually from Columbia, by the way, Rockbridge, but he had the response that I was thinking in my head, and that was Ace Ventura, like a glove, just kind of slid.
Narrowly missed a house.
Yes, it was
narrowly missed a house.
Slid it around. If the hoses hadn't come off the back of the truck, I think it would have almost looked intentional the way it kind of.
Oh, my goodness.
But yeah, that was, and the crazy thing today is, there's like 3 different angles of the same thing.
Yeah, everybody was like, like they saw it
welcome
coming.
to 2024. Everybody's got a camera. So anyway.
We also had the Hall of Fame Classic in Bolivar at SBU. I heard there were some good games there.
Yeah, we actually had a really good, only had 4 games, but they were awesome. We had Sparta, of course, they're state ranked. Kansas City Central came down. They were state ranked, so we started the day with a state ranked matchup. Sparta, I think I kind of put it out on the Twitter account, but after the game, it's even though Central lost and Sparta won, I think it's the kind of game that will benefit both teams come March, playing that kind of competition, and that's one of the reasons why we do these classics. But so yeah, that was a great game, and then halfway played St. Elizabeth, state ranked St. Elizabeth, and halfway had a shot in the air to win it at the end, so that was a great game. And then Bolivar, McDonald County. Bolivar was down 9 about halfway through the 4th quarter, came back and actually had the lead, took a 2-point lead, and then McDonald County got a putback and won, took a 1-point lead.
Wow.
And so Bolivar had a shot in the air at the end to win it.
Yeah.
And so that was 2 games back to back that were, good ones. And then Wablo, I mean, they are loaded in Class 2. They looked really good in the nightcap. So great day of basketball at SBU, and we'll do it again here in a couple of weeks. 2 Hall of Fame Classics on February the 10th. One in St. Joe at Benton High School and one at Tolton Catholic High School in Columbia. So
sounds like you got to see some good ball. Be on the lookout for those events coming up here in a couple of weeks. We will release the schedules of those on social media. I agree with you. I love what we do with those. You take teams, not only are they not from different conferences, different parts of the state, most often, teams that could very well see each other later in the year.
And that's kind of where the idea of the whole scheduling came from, is going to the Final Four and seeing, the 4 teams come from different parts of the state and seeing those that kind of competition. And so the idea behind scheduling is you get 7 or 8 local teams. Obviously, you'd love to have 7 or 8 state ranked teams. That doesn't always happen, but you get those teams and you bring in, teams from across the state that match up, preferably state ranked versus state ranked, like Sparta versus Central. But that's the whole idea behind the scheduling, and you get to play somebody new that's you don't see every year, and the fans love it, the players love it, the coaches love it. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
and we generally have those, in this time of the year, early January, February, when you kind of start need to see how you match up against some of those schools. Get yourself on the right path to make a run.
Yep.
But glad that we had some good games there. A lot of good games in the NFL playoffs this past weekend as well.
It was the Final 4 in each conference, and some good games, definitely.
KC silenced the haters, I think. Playoff KC is just a little different. It's just a little different. They've looked very, very solid for 2 weeks.
Patrick Mahomes is I heard a sports commentator, obviously not being literal, but said he's a killer. I mean, until you beat the Chiefs, until you beat Mahomes, I don't know how you're going to root against. I mean, they're the team to beat as far as I'm concerned until they're beat. And so even going to Baltimore this weekend, is anyone going to be surprised if Kansas City goes in there and beats Baltimore? I wouldn't be.
It's tough to win on
the
the road.
The thing is their defense is playing exceptional. And of course you got Patrick Mahomes, and I think the offense had some hiccups early in the season, but I think if you look at the last month or so, who's playing better? So
I was impressed with, obviously Mahomes had a good game. They established the run well against Buffalo. I think that opened up a lot of other things.
Isaiah Pacheco was not, he didn't play in that early December game against Buffalo.
That's right.
And he was like a 3-star coming out of high school. I saw he was undrafted, coming into the league. Yeah. And he runs like it. I mean, at the very end when Kansas City, needed a first down to kind of effectively end the ball game after the missed field goal. He was just running. There was nobody tackling him. I mean, he got the first down. He was not going to be denied. So anyway, impressive win.
Yeah, I knew they would play motivated too. I mean, it just seems like people just don't learn. I mean, one of my favorite sayings that I've heard about the Chiefs is, you can overlook the Chiefs, you can disrespect the Chiefs, but you're going to have to deal with the Chiefs.
Well, and a lot of people were down on, Josh Allen can't win the big one. I don't necessarily think that he played terrible. I mean, he put there on that last drive before the missed field goal, he put a 60-yard pass on the money for Stephon Diggs to catch, and he just dropped it. Yeah. I mean, so you can't, obviously Chiefs fans understand that, obviously, but, I don't know that he played bad, but just, I think for the foreseeable future, Josh Allen versus Mahomes is, I heard somebody describe it as the new Brady versus Manning. I don't know that if I agree with that, and mainly because once Peyton Manning got the Patriots in his place, they won, but but I tell you playoff Patty, I think is what you called him last week.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no,
he's gonna be tough to.
He's legit. There's no doubt about that. We keep an eye on him here. Obviously, nothing but a bright future ahead for him. Of the foundation he's already built.
So you got Chiefs at Baltimore. You got Detroit at San Francisco. Go ahead and call your shot.
Man. I love the Detroit story. I love Campbell. I hated to see them beat Baker, but they are a better team. Yeah. I think they have a good chance of beating the 49ers. It's hard to win on the road. So, I'm going to go with the 49ers in that matchup.
Brock Purdy's going to have to play better, though.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. He's obviously the.
I think the weather had a little bit to do with that, but he's
the least talented quarterback.
Now, is Deebo Samuel out for this game too?
I don't know. That's probably TBD.
I didn't realize that he was not going to play until I was turning the game on. But
so we'll see on that. But I like the Niners in that matchup, and I like the Chiefs.
I think what is that? The first Super Bowl that Mahomes won was where he hit Tyreek Hill on that long pass at the end. I think it was Niners Chiefs rematch. So
he kind of hit that double move post corner.
I mean, I'm like you. I love the Detroit story. Yeah. Baltimore certainly has been. I think I saw that the two best defenses in the AFC are the Chiefs and the Ravens. So you got that. Defense wins championships apparently, but until you beat Kansas City, I just don't know how you root against them. So
we said the same thing about Georgia here, though.
I would agree. I would agree. Kansas City and San Francisco.
Now, have you heard about the Super Bowl logo conspiracy? Have you heard about that?
I've not, but I do want to go back to the playoff game too when we get done with this, because there's one thing we haven't talked about.
So the Super Bowl logo for the past several years has had a gradient color on it, and those two colors.
So something about predicting the.
Yeah, it's happened. This is the NFL scripts. Yeah. People, right? The conspiracy theorists there. The last few years, that gradient has matched the colors of the teams. So you had the Bengals and the Rams. That gradient was orange yellow. Last year it was green red, and that was the Eagles Chiefs. This year it's purple and red. So a lot of people think, it's scripted that the Ravens and the Niners. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. So we'll see if that holds, right? They're going to have to beat the reigning Super Bowl champs to get there, but the Ravens are a good team.
Yeah. They're good. They're good. They, I mean, their defense is one of the, like I said, I think I'm not concerned about Patrick Mahomes winning a playoff game on the road or at home or wherever, but it should be a pretty good matchup. defensive coordinators are going to have their hands full with Mahomes and Lamar Jackson.
Lamar is so elusive. He's such a weapon. I don't know though. The Taylor Swift, Jason Kelce.
That's
combo.
what I wanted to get back to.
I don't know if you can beat that. That was the Chiefs.
The funniest thing. Of course, Jason Kelce. Of course, if you're not familiar with their podcast, it's New Heights. I believe it's called. New Heights.
That's where they're from in Ohio.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's just entertaining as all get out. But the funniest thing, of course, everybody's seen the clips of him. First of all, banging or slamming beers out of bowling balls in the parking lot,
the Buffalo
jumping
fans.
out of the suite, but when he jumped out of the suite the first time, if you look in the background, his wife, Kylie, is back there and the look on her face is perfect.
Really?
It's just this smile like, oh, here he goes again, just complete like I married an idiot, but I love that idiot kind of smile. That's the best thing about the whole deal. But shirtless, I did not have that on the bingo card. A shirtless Jason Kelce. So.
In the cold in upper state New York.
Yeah, that was entertaining.
He stole the show just a little bit, but obviously it's still kind of unforeseen what his future looks like. It's been sort of speculated.
Yeah.
It's nothing official yet, but I liked where he grabbed a Buffalo fan, a young girl,
and
like
took
brought her up to see Taylor
yes,
Swift. I thought that was really cool.
I don't like watch or listen to New Heights like on a regular basis, but I've seen enough clips to know that he's kind of you got little brother Travis over here dating the international superstar, and Jason's the married man with the kids and stuff. But it was just go back and look at Kyla. She's sitting in the very back of the suite, and the look on her face is like this smile grin, like I married an idiot. But I love that.
Love that. I've seen a few clips here over the past few weeks. They've had some pretty heartfelt moments too with him, obviously with his football future being unforeseen. I think he's 13, 14 years in the league, something like that. And at the top of his game.
Yeah.
But,
and I believe, there's plenty that are saying Hall of Fame career. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. And he might
obviously Travis's first ballot. But.
He might have. I don't think he was undrafted, but he was like a 6th or 7th rounder. So the probability of
the old Bearcats producing talent.
No kidding. It's kind of funny to me though, watching the Chiefs. It's kind of like it's like watching an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, kind of with all of that just extra. Like, sometimes you're like, let's get back to the football.
Swag surfing is that what they call it? All of that. I mean, it's I was listening to sports radio this morning. They were talking about I guess Buffalo fans booed Taylor Swift walking into the stadium, and they were having this debate about should you boo or not, and it was kind of a mixture of it's wrong, it's not, but it was more of they weren't booing her personally. It was you're wearing Chiefs stuff, we're booing every Chiefs fan.
That's very like the Bills Mafia.
I thought it was kind of Philadelphia-esque, I guess, at the end when you're throwing snowballs at the team that just beat you on your home field. Though that's kind of. The Philadelphia fans get the rap for throwing snowballs at Santa Claus, but
well, we both have the 49ers and the Chiefs as our Super Bowl prediction. I'll say this though. I think people just get tired of the success. They get tired of the dynasties. Like for instance, in the Chiefs-Ravens matchup, I think if you're not a Chiefs fan, maybe a Browns fan because of Flacco, I think everybody else is probably rooting for the Ravens. And same thing with Detroit. I think if you're not,
I think a lot of people love the Detroit story. I will say that because I do root for the Colts, and I'm kind of outside the.
You don't have a dog in the race.
Well, like the diehard Chiefs fandom, Chiefs Kingdom. The Chiefs are approaching Brady and the Patriots level of you either love them or you hate them across the country. I mean, the same old same. I mean, obviously they're a lovable team. Patrick Mahomes, if you see him outside the stadium, he's just the nicest guy ever, and
does a lot in the community.
Absolutely, and so does Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. Getting his nuggies, and they're just all over TV. But if you're not a Chiefs fan, this is 6 straight AFC Championship games for Mahomes. That is, Brady didn't do that.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. I mean, he's basically every year he started, he's ended his season either in the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship. So that's just ridiculous.
Hard to fathom. But and it's weird to say this already because Mahomes is only in his 7th season, but that dynasty window is quickly closing. Andy Reid, how much longer is he going to coach?
There's rumors that Andy Reid could be done this year. There's rumors that Travis Kelce may be done.
I think they both ex-nate that though.
Yeah.
But you have an aging tight end who is arguably one of the top receivers, period.
Mm-hmm.
Not let alone.
I mean, he could retire tomorrow and be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. We'll see how it shapes up in the championship round this weekend. And then 2 weeks till the Super Bowl.
But if you're Andy Reid, do you really hang it up until Patrick?
Yeah, no, you'd be wise not to.
And now, if you're Bill Belichick, you should have hung it up when Tom Brady left, because it was obviously him and not you. But
Belichick to Bama.
You think
Belichick?
You think he's going to figure out a
offensive coordinator or something? Maybe, I don't know.
That's funny.
I don't know. But before the Super Bowl gets here, we have a big event on February 4th. Our Super Bowl of sorts. The Springfield enshrinement annually hosted that week between the conference championships and the Super Bowl. We have a guest that's going to be joining us from that induction class. If you don't know who it is, perhaps the best high school basketball player to ever come out of the Springfield area.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Anthony Tolliver.
Anthony Tolliver. He will be joining us here in a few weeks following his induction. We look forward to that. Be on the lookout for that episode when it drops. I want to remind you of the Champions Gala as well, benefiting Champions committed to kids. Special guest Peyton Manning coming to town early April. We're going to be getting some stuff out on that here very soon. You'll be seeing more information, ticket prices, all that good stuff. We appreciate any sponsorship of the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
That's a big event. That's a big one for sure. But we have the February 4th enshrinement before that. Also a couple of basketball classics as well. We break it all down here, so stay tuned with it. Some sports news we wanted to talk about. You've probably seen this if you follow Missouri sports, not necessarily related to teams, but it is on the ballot again. The sports betting, the wagering legalization. We'll give you a little disclaimer here. We're not promoting, advocating anything of those sorts, but kind of what we wanted to talk about briefly is we're starting to see some sports teams in Missouri who are kind of backing this just to its not essentially advocating for it themselves either. They just want to see it on the ballot, leave it to the people. I think it's sort of the stance they're taking. The Cardinals, Blues, Royals, and Chiefs have all kind of spearheaded that effort.
Even the soccer teams, Sporting KC, I think. Was
on
as well.
And it seems like they all kind of have agreed on a mutual statement that this is not something that should sit on the House floor. They just said, hey, let's get some sort of proposal approved and let it be to the people, I guess.
Obviously, once again, we're not promoting one way or the other, but I think it's inevitable. I think it's a matter of time. I think that states, I follow Kentucky basketball, so I listen to a lot of stuff there, and they fought it for years. You know, they had politicians that specifically intentionally kept it off the ballot for years, while states all around Indiana and Tennessee and other states were reaping the benefits. They finally passed it, and they've had a windfall of, and obviously you can designate, same thing with the lottery years ago, whenever it, started, the money goes somewhere. And so sports betting, there's going to be money for the state somehow, some way. And it's just a matter of time. I mean, there are plenty of people that are gambling in the state of Missouri already, whether it's legal or not.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's a matter of time.
That's kind of how I feel about it as well. And we're not political on this podcast.
I mean, even if they pass it tomorrow, I'm not personally going to
be
betting on my phone or whatever. This is not for me, because I could sit here and pick games and probably do all right, but if I had money on it, they would lose every one of them. But,
Well,
but it's just it's almost kind of like the marijuana stuff as well.
Yeah.
That's passed in other states, and I think eventually it's just the way things are going. And I'm not saying good, bad, or otherwise. I'm just saying that
that's kind of the viewpoint for sure. And that's kind of how I was going to compare it to NIL a little bit, where it's just one of those things that inevitable is probably a good word to describe it. There's so many different sides to it. I think with what you were saying, in today's world, if you want to gamble, if you want to bet on sports, there's a way to, right? So why not have it, where it's, hey, we monitor this, right? It's helping benefit the state, on a local level with the taxation of it and whatnot. But we'll see. I found it interesting. Thought we would mention it, that sports teams, right? People always talk about that. Where
and
do
like
they
you
stand
said,
on
these
things,
teams are not saying, "Hey, we are in favor of gambling." Let's get. It's more of a, and they may be, but that's not what the public statement was. It was, "Hey, listen, this is It's been sitting there on the floor.
Yeah.
Let's bring it to a vote. The people decide.
And what do sport teams always go back to? Their fans.
Mhm.
I think they're just advocating for their fans to have a voice, have an opinion, and to be heard on it.
There's a reason. There is a reason. I mean, I remember growing up watching ESPN, and you never saw a point spread anywhere.
Yeah,
you never saw injury reports for the NFL anywhere. I mean, it was just now they are required to do that. There's a reason why the injury report comes out on Wednesday in the NFL, and the number one reason is for gambling purposes. So that Vegas, when they're setting the odds, all of that, there's a reason. It's not for your fantasy league; it's for gambling. That's why they do it.
Yeah,
point spreads. There's a reason why they're put on the ticker on ESPN now, because
that ball has started rolling. It's hard to stop.
It is what it is. So
thought we'd talk about a little bit of college basketball. The football season's over. Thought we'd catch up on Mizzou. We're a big fan of Mizzou basketball.
Off to a little rough start. In the conference.
We're big fans of their coach. He's a great guy, great personality. Awesome. But they are 8-10 at this point in the season, still winless, I believe, in SEC play. They might have one win in SEC play, maybe. But it's late January. Mm-hmm. Can they turn it around this year? Do you think? I mean, what direction? What needs to be done? I mean, what will it take?
I don't know. They're going to have to win the SEC to get into the March Madness.
Yeah, with this record,
they're going to have one heck of a run, even probably at this point, to make the NIT. But it's it doesn't lessen my opinion of Dennis Gates at all. He's got some recruits coming in. I saw one of the is it Boateng, I believe. One of the recruits had a monster game last week. So they're recruiting. It's just a blip on the radar. I mean, he's just as good a coach now as he was a year ago. He just got to get some.
And they've got some dogs.
Players,
they've got some dogs in there right now. Mm-hmm. What's that? Bates kid, I think.
Tamar Bates.
Yeah, he's dropping big numbers and stuff. I mean,
is he the one that got Aiden Shaw was the one that got pushed by Nate Oates from Alabama?
Oh yeah.
That was a little much.
So, I mean, they've got pieces there. Sometimes, it's just whatever. Chalk it up to team chemistry, getting into the offense, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, you just got to find ways to win games.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you have up and down seasons. It ebbs and it flows a little bit. I agree with you. I think at this point, they have to win the SEC tournament at the end of the year. And that's part of it, right? It's the SEC. It's not easy. It's not
the
easy
SEC
ball.
this year is, it used to be, Kentucky and maybe one other team, 15 years ago. And now they got some, it's some good teams.
Yeah.
It's not as good as it was perhaps last year, but you got teams like Ole Miss, all of a sudden you got Chris Beard, who was obviously a standout coach at Texas Tech, took them to within a couple plays of a national championship not too long ago. Now he's, resurrecting his career at Ole Miss. They entered conference play undefeated. Auburn is a legit Final Four contender. Kentucky has got maybe the best offense in the country, maybe the worst defense, but they're kind of lighting up scoreboards. Tennessee is absolutely loaded for bear. So they got some top heavy teams, but even the middle teams, you're not getting an easy win on the road in the SEC. So
well, we're talking about top teams, in the country, contenders and stuff. I'm not an advocate of picking a Final Four before you see a bracket, but just for the heck of it, in terms of this exercise, at this point in the season, who do you like for that Final Four teams to be?
Obviously it depends on matchups in the bracket. Once you get that on Selection Sunday, but sitting here today, I would not want to play UConn. They are. There's this metric, I guess, for the last 25 years, the national champion has been in the top 20 in Ken Pom in both offense and defense, I believe, something like 20, 25, something like that. And there's only like 5 or 6 teams that fit the criteria. UConn's one of them. I think Houston, Purdue is in there. Purdue is due to make a Final Four. They've not, I don't know if they've ever made one. If they have, it was like 1980. It's been forever ago if they did make one.
And they have one of the best big men.
He's probably the Naismith player of the year, Zach Edey. But if they play their style, they could win a national title. Now their shooters got to hit shots, or else I think they're beatable. But UConn's loaded. Houston plays defense. They will lock you down. They will grind it out on you. They're a solid team. Kansas, with I think they're kind of similar to Purdue. You got the big guy, both of them have the big 7-footer that kind of goes for 20 and 15 a night.
Yeah,
and then they got shooters, around. But so that's a couple,
Hunter,
3 or 4 teams. Hunter Dickinson, yeah.
Talk about your Wildcats. I know you want to throw your Wildcats in there.
You said Final Four. I mean, Kentucky can beat anybody in the country.
Yeah,
and they can lose.
And that's been shown.
They can lose. They lost to UNC Wilmington earlier. But that being said, I think they're playing right now. And I was coincidental listening that college basketball is always about 8 or 10 years behind the NBA. And if you recall, about a decade ago, defense wins championships. You had to have great defense. And then here came Golden State. Golden State can't win a title. They don't play defense. Well, all of a sudden you got Steph Curry and
they're throwing up 33s a game.
And they're hitting them. And then all of a sudden they won a title. They were going to the finals every year. And now you look at the league and it's shooters everywhere. Yeah. And so the college game is starting to, and Kentucky has embraced that this year. They've got legit 5 or 6 guys that can hit a 3 at any time. And so they can't play a lick of defense. I'm telling you right now, I could probably beat somebody off the dribble. I mean, obviously exaggerating, but so they could win it all. Absolutely could. But their defense may do them in if they're not hitting shots. Yeah. But the good thing about Kentucky, if you're a fan, is they don't rely on 1 or 2 guys to score. If those 2 guys are off, they've got 2 or 3 other guys that can hit shots. So, and then just added in the Croatian sensation, Zvonimir Ivicic.
You didn't Did you watch that?
Yes, I did. So anyway,
the picture that gets painted really starts to come into fruition here in the coming months. You got to see who's playing their best ball at the right time of the year. They call it March Madness for a reason, but I agree with you on a lot of those. UConn surprised a lot of people last year making a Final Four. I don't think it'll surprise anybody this year if they make a Final Four.
But you're going to have to beat UConn. They're not going to beat themselves.
Yeah, I agree. I like Purdue as well. I still like Kansas. They've hit a semi lull if for Kansas, if you could even call it that.
Yeah.
But when you have that big man, whenever you can play, team defense and cause turnovers, I like
Bill
those
Self
3.
has shown he can coach basketball.
He's a successful coach without a doubt. One team that keeps catching my eye, and they lost here last week, I think, but Marquette. It's kind of one of those, maybe a 3 seed type, 2 seed.
Arizona has got some talent.
Yeah, they're both in there. I've been surprised with Oklahoma. Obviously they've got the new coach. He was the guy from, he came from the Valley. He was coaching, was it Loyola?
Yeah. I know you're talking about. He coached Loyola Chicago to the Final Four a few years ago.
Yeah, but they've had some solid wins as well. But UConn, Purdue, Kansas,
and we
is kind of
both
where
are sitting here knowing that there's going to be a Florida Atlantic type team that comes out of nowhere to the Final Four seemingly every year. I mean, you're not going to get 4 1 seeds.
Yeah. But you see those teams down through there. I'm looking at the top 25 here. You've got a Dayton in the top 25. You got a Creighton. You've got Florida Atlantic, Colorado State. One of those teams they're a solid team that's going to find a win over a top 16 in the country.
Polled me right now on I never would have guessed Colorado State was ranked. So I think I saw I think they lost, but that's why I saw it. But I think Memphis was ranked 9th like a week ago.
Yeah.
Never would have guessed that. So I mean, there's just
is that Penny Hardaway? Is he the coach there?
I think so. And it's still, I mean, like I think it was like a week ago, of the top 25, like 15 of them lost, including like 7 of the top 10 lost in 1 week. I mean, it was just,
name a more college basketball
I won't say
season,
parody, but it's like the transfer portal and NIL and the COVID year. I mean, this is the last year for the guys that are like 32, playing college basketball. But I think, but all of that is kind of, you just never know. You got to go win.
Did you see that Miami kid? We're flipping around here in football. They got like his 9th season or something of eligibility.
Of college football. I think is it Nick Bosa? He was in his same high school class.
That's crazy.
Nick Bosa's been like in the league for like 5 or 6 years, and this guy's in his 9th year of college football.
That's crazy. But you're right. NIL, transfer portal, all that stuff it's playing a factor. It's playing a role. And what we're seeing lay out on the playing field. So We've come to the end of our time, though. We like to keep it short for you guys, nice and sweet. Talk about some Missouri sports, even talk about some national news. We will revisit our Final Four predictions. We won't even be close, but maybe we will. Maybe we'll get one or two of them right. We'll see. We mentioned a lot of big events coming up. Be sure to stay tuned for all of those. Follow us on social media channels. You can see what's happening at the Hall of Fame when it happens. We have recap videos, all kinds of things that are going on. And stay tuned for the podcast. Big guests coming in here in the next month and a half. So we're looking forward to that. That being said, be sure to leave us a review. New episodes every Wednesday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Byron?
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week.
That's right. We'll catch you next time on another episode of Where the Game Lives On.